That's where I think the power of adding POD really helps scale your business. It will be an additional income stream, but I think it also helps with the understanding, the learning, especially if you're going after the Amazon marketplace for helping your other aspects of selling. I'd like us to start testing things, find a market that works for us, and then grow that into a business together. But again, that won't be this week, next month. It's going to take a lot of time. And I think that's why I wanted to record this process so people go, oh, I remember when they started, and I can see now how that grew and scaled. Instead of they talk about doing this for 8 months, 12-hour days, but I see them having success right now. It's like you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. We want to pull back the curtains a little bit and kind of show you the journey and the time that it's going to take to do this. Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for clicking on the video. I'm actually here with a good friend of mine, but my name is Steven. This is my friend Kaman. If you want to just introduce yourself.
Sure. So I've been selling on Amazon since 2014. I've gone through wholesale, RA, OA, did some private label, like I've crashed and burned. I've had some successes. So I'm interested in this merch KDP stuff. I've had a merch account. It's kind of been the redheaded stepchild. It's just like, yeah, I have one. Let's do something. And I dabble in it and I don't do anything with it. Dabble in it, don't do anything with it. Have one sale, get excited, and then do a lot of work and don't get any sales at all, and then go back to RA. And so I'm really interested in adding a new stream. I think anybody who is doing any type of business should always be looking to add streams of income to their business. And I really want to make this a business, so I'm looking forward to working with Steven and adding a new stream in 2020. And whether it's KDP or merch, it's something to learn. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Those are kind of my goals. I do want to make money, don't get me wrong. And I want to make sure that I have another stream. So and if something happens, I mean, we've all been there where like a brand gets restricted or
algorithm
changes, closes down. Like, what are you gonna do?
Or
like,
you miss a metrics and your Amazon account gets shut down completely.
Exactly. So this this is a way to protect myself as well as just to learn something new and work with Steven, which I love working with. So I want you to come on along for the ride, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as we do.
Yeah, I guess I'll give a little bit more backstory. I am very analytical, data heavy. I feel like that's where me and Kaman first kind of connected. We were at a Las Vegas trade show. We talked, we sat down. I think that's where the friendship kind of blossomed, and just seeing how he thought of the business and analyzed it. And it was like, he was really heavy into the data, and just like picking a product was more of a process than just like grab something off the shelf and throw it in a box and test it out. And I feel the same way. There is like a difference in pulling the trigger in private label because there is some money up front. And the mental shift for me when I switched over to almost full POD, I think is an interesting one. And I like to have those conversations here to help more people add POD to their business. If you start this POD journey, getting listings up is like the most important thing, more than like selecting the correct market or the correct keyword or the correct art. Like letting the market decide is almost a complete opposite of how I ran our OA, RA, wholesale, private label business. That mental shift, I think, is something that we will do together. But I just wanted to open this time up for like any questions that you have. I want to address them up front. And then most of this series, I would assume, is going to be on how we actually doing the data, how we actually doing the analytics, how are we gathering the keywords, how are we using the keywords. I think that's something that people are very interested in. I have a lot of people reaching out to me. I jump on calls with them. I really enjoy that, but I wanted to be able to do a series where two analytical people can kind of break down the business, where you're not starting from scratch, you're just adding this to your business so you have a level of understanding, but we're just tweaking it and applying it slightly different. I think that mind shift is something that it will help more people than just like me and you and figuring out how to grow our businesses.
I want to piggyback off your mind shift thing because me and Steven have talked for a while, and that is something that's really different. And what I used to think of it was like, hey, putting up a listing for POD is the same thing as buying an RA product. Like, hey, I have to make sure all the metrics are there. I have to make sure that I'm not restricted. It's not hazmat. I got to follow all these rules before I actually buy the product. And I think a mind shift for me for POD was actually creating a listing is actually equivalent to scanning a product for RA,
Ooh.
or processing a a price list for wholesale. Like it doesn't, when I scan, it doesn't cost me any money. I just got to figure out, okay, like, is this good or not? For POD, that's the same thing, but it's shifted to a listing. So like you could scan 100 products, but you might only buy one or two. Same thing with POD. You could put up 100 listings, but you only buy one or two. But there's no problem with scanning because we're not putting out any money. Same thing with creating a listing with POD. Is like, hey, I'm not putting out any money, so might as well either scan as many products as I want, or put up as many listings as I want, or in wholesale process as many um, price lists as I want, because hey, it's a numbers game almost, where like I got to put more out there. So that
That's
was a huge one for
very
me, and
interesting. I like that a lot.
and and that kind of helped me. Where like, oh shoot, am I creating this design correctly? Am I picking the letters right? Is this the right font before I put it up? Versus like, just put it up, like just throw it out there, see where it lands, see where it doesn't. And then um, after I get sales data, that will tell me is equivalent to, okay, is this an ROI? The ROI match? Like that's almost the part where like, okay, should I actually start investing in it? And the investment part, and this is what Stephen talks about before, about the doubling down part of a design is equivalent to me actually buying an RA product. Like
Mm.
now I'm putting resources in. I'm telling designers to be like, hey, make a lot of these designs. These designs are going to take a lot more time than you just throwing stuff up, and then analyze everything, and then put in the time and the effort, and even some of the money up front of like, because I got to pay for these designs now too, versus like me just throwing stuff up just to see if it works.
I
That's
like
kind
that.
of the
I like that
shift.
a lot.
Um, but I mean, for me, questions is, I think a lot of it is like, hey, is it worth my time? Like if I want to make this a multiple stream of income, I want it to be a stream of income, not a coupon code. Or like, okay, like I put it where like, okay, like now I make an extra $50 a month. Like, can I actually make this a stream of income? So that's actually one of my first questions.
Yes, I will say that you can definitely make this a stream of income. I have shown some of my account to you. There was one design that really took off, and we did double down, and we made thousands of dollars off of one design idea in a week. But it takes time. I don't want to say that and be like, hey, you're going to make thousands of dollars next week. It took me and Nathaniel 2 years to build a process, understand the market, scale. And like you said, scanning is a better way of thinking about it. Like just testing the market like crazy, letting the market decide what we should go after, and then better understanding how to double down. So are we making small tweaks? Are we changing up full keywords? Do we just miss what we're going after completely and the customers are actually searching it this way? Do they like this color? Do they like this design? That all takes a lot of time. And what we found from helping hundreds of people is everybody's skill level and their understanding of the market is different. Once you understand your customers, that's where the scaling and conversions skyrocket. But it takes a lot of time to do that. So I think from that mind shift of like going from private label to print on demand, it was like you do so much research and guesswork in the beginning and test small, and then once you kind of get something work it, like you can grow it. It's the same kind of mentality with POD, except for you're just flooding. You're not really flooding the market. You're putting as much out in the market as you can, seeing what the market is actually gravitating towards, and then trying to figure out how to scale that piece of it. So it was a volume business for us to start. Now that we have niches and customers that we understand, now we're able to kind of go in, okay, it's New Year's Eve coming up. This is how we're going to go after this niche. We're just putting those two niches together, those two ideas together. This will work out for us because we better understand those customers. It's taken us a very, very, I don't want to like scream to the mic, long time to do that. So I think with me helping you, we can get there quicker. And then you can start taking some of that data like we did in the beginning and use it for your other business, because I really think that's the power of it to get started. And where you start with merchant KDP, I don't think is the great place to grow or scale a business. But the amount of data understanding, especially understanding on the marketplace of Amazon that you're going to come out of this, I think will tremendously help you in your other aspects of business. Again, time will tell. We are on this journey together. you will be able to say, hey, Steve, remember that idea that you had that this is going to work? It didn't at all. Or, hey, this really helped. And we are now going after this whole new market. We're now buying OA products for this. We're buying, I should say, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, just pretty much reselling. Or we're wholesaling and we're going after this demographic because now we understand this market. We made this bundle, but didn't realize these customers really liked this color or this idea, and be able to use that for your other businesses. That's where I think the power of adding POD really helps scale your business. It will be an additional income stream, but I think it also helps with the understanding, the learning, especially if you're going after the Amazon marketplace, for helping your other aspects of selling. But I do think, and I hope in time, we'll be able to grow, just like Nathaniel's on this new journey of Shopify. I'd like us to start testing things, find a market that works for us, and then grow that into a business together. But again, that won't be this week, next month. It's going to take a lot of time. And I think that's why I wanted to record this process, so people go, oh, I remember when they started, and I can see now how that grew and scaled. Instead of, they talk about doing this for 8 months, 12-hour days, but I see them having success right now. It's like, you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. We want to pull back the curtains a little bit and kind of show you the journey and the time that it's going to take to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're telling me is it's a slow burn, right? So it's going to take a while, and to temper my expectations, because with RA, it's great because you scan something 1 week, you ship it in, 2 weeks it sells, and you're like, oh yeah, let's motivate. And this is a little bit of a slow burn. So I'm preparing my mind for that. And I understand, I mean, that's one of the things that I enjoy about, or look forward to adding this, is because I only want to add skills that enhance my other businesses, right? So, I mean, for example, like I like learning about communication, because if I learn how to communicate, it enhances every part of my life. The same way, if POD is working and really understanding the customer and the market, it'll enhance my other businesses of selling on Amazon and all the different business models that are associated with it. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I guess my next question is, I think a lot of people have this question. You've kind of walked me through it, but I kind of want to hear it again just for this. Is like, so what do
I feel like I'm being set up on a T-ball question here.
Well, I mean, what do you do when you don't have like any design experience, right? Like my drawing is stick figure. Like I'm like, dang, that's a good stick figure. I did really well on this one, you know. So I don't know the name of fonts. Like what? I just type like, oh, and I click buttons to change it, but I don't know the difference between Times New Roman and what a sans serif or whatever.
Hey, you're asking the wrong person. I think if you're here to learn art, you have come to the wrong videos.
So
this
art
is going to
is
be
not a requirement.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
So Nathaniel teaches on art. We have free art programs. I use Spark. It is an Adobe product. I can make listings very quickly to test using that. I suggest, if art is not your thing, at least start figuring out a process for you to be able to get listings up. Once you kind of have that, hire a VA. I don't remember when we talked about this exactly, but I feel like you are in a position now where you have a VA doing the art. So you can still do that part of the business if it's not your strength. I don't do any art. I rely on Nathaniel, his art team. When I have an idea that I just want to test real quick, I can and have the ability to go to Spark. But the beauty about POD, there is a lot of products that are not heavily designed. They're words on a shirt. They're a simple image. There's a lot of gaps in the market, if you're not a designer, that you can still go after. And because POD is constantly growing and the audience for all of these products are constantly growing, there's still gaps, blue ocean, that you can go after and serve new customers. That's what the whole point of, like, find your customers. We're going to hopefully say this a lot more. Discover, understand, serve. That's kind of the WingMan motto. We want to find the customer. We want to discover them. Then we want to better understand them. What colors, designs, keywords, how do we do that? That's a lot of the testing, like putting up a lot of listings, seeing what they like. Then doubling down is like the serving the customers. Oh, I know they really like black. I know they really gravitate to this keyword. I know a lot of customers aren't trying this, or they're not adding this Christmas theme, or they're not going about it in this way. That's when you can really serve them. So I know Nathaniel just addressed this in a video that he did. Some people were saying, oh, you're just saying copy what's already in the market. We're saying draw inspiration from that to start. Once you do that and you start better understanding your customers, then you can bring in new ideas. If you try to do everything up front, it's going to take you forever to learn this process. It's a lot to learn building a listing. It's a lot to learn to gather keywords. It's a lot to learn to do the art. It's a lot to learn the whole process. We feel like if you put more attention on finding customers and gaps in the market, seeing what's working, draw inspiration from, your path to success will be a lot faster. It shouldn't take you 8 months, 12-hour days, because that's what it took us 8 months, 12-hour days ago. We're testing a million ideas. How come all these aren't working? What's really going on? And then focusing on and thinking about the customer first really revolutionized our business. And that's why everything in our business kind of skyrocketed from there. And that's what I think and hope will happen with this journey with me and Kaman.
Yeah, and just to clarify with everyone, we're not going to walk you through how to create listings. And we're not going to walk you through like, hey, what is a keyword? You know, this is more of a intermediate kind of thing. I mean, if you have come from RIO, you kind of know what keywords are. We're not going to talk about buy boxes and all that other stuff. It's just, we're going to talk about the process of how to find a merch product, launch it, gather the data, and how to use that data to expand out your other brands and maybe double down on creating more POD products. So
yeah, and I think if you like tools, I would assume we're going to cover tools. We're going to understand how to like use those tools to best benefit our business. And I think what Kaman said, this is more of an intermediate progression. Like I think a lot of stuff that we're going to be saying will apply to people that already are running some type of business and want to add POD to your business. I will say this in the most beneficial way. I love tools, and I'm super guilty of the shiny object syndrome where I just have a ton of tools. I haven't used a lot of them for our POD business. I use them in other aspects that we do. But I think with me and Kaman, we'll be able to use those tools to better help the POD business and help more people of just like, why do we use this tool? And what do we use this tool for?
my daughter's screaming in the background. So that's the joy of POD, is that I can do it with my daughter in the background. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think we kind of answered, two of my major questions before we get started down this route, and looking forward to the next steps.
This is the journey that we want to show somebody that has a business, is running a business, and then trying to add POD to their business. I don't know if there's like a check-in point where you have like, this is the goal that I want to hit by this time. But I think as we go through these calls, we can start setting these goals for ourselves. But I appreciate you. I appreciate the people watching this. If you have any additional questions, please leave them in the comment. We want to make this mine and Kaman's journey, but we also want to help you guys. If you have a question about a certain tool we used, or we said something that you didn't understand, I want to be able to address those down in the comment. And if you would, and you're just getting started and you're here and you're like, this is a little too advanced for me, a video I did with my mom really breaking down the KDP process. I'm gonna try to put it here, otherwise I look like a fool and it'll be at the end of the video. But if you're interested in starting a POD business in 2020 and you're just getting started, I think that video series will really help you out.
Other than that, put a link in the bottom of the video too, so you could actually add that.
That's why I like working with people. All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.